We're going to start this community policing meeting, but before we start, we're going to open it up with prayer.
Thank you. Every head is bowed and every eye is closed. Eternal God, our Father, we thank and praise you just for another privilege to see another day. We ask, oh God, that you would bless the mayor, trustees, department heads, and particularly those that you've called to serve and protect us. We ask, oh God, that you would look at all of us, for we know that you neither slumber nor sleep. Keep us all safe and secure. Then, God, help us all to increase love one to another. And we'll be so careful to give your name all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory. And all God's people said, amen. Amen. Thank you.
All right. So a show of hands, how many saw the YouTube video that we put out this week? No? Okay. Well, we actually did a video presentation. Is there any way that we could show it? Okay. Well, pull it up. We did it in hopes of of Facebook users and people that frequent the Dalton app would see it, and then that we would have a big turnout. So this is just going to be one of a few scenarios and things that we do of this nature. And our goal is to continuously build the policing and the community together, because as we stated before, it takes all of us, not just the police and not just the community. We all work together collectively to make this village a better place. So we got some I'm sure after this meeting you'll have a different perspective and an outlook on some things on how you view policing, because we're going to ask for 3 volunteers tonight, and you all are going to play the police while the police officers play the citizens. And we got 3 different scenarios that we're going to go over just to see how you would react if you were in our shoes. We're going to watch a few videos after this one. This is the footage that we put out to draw people in. But after that, we're going to watch a few videos with police-involved shootings where they actually get shot in different scenarios, traffic stops or whatever. So we're gonna watch those, and then after the 3 volunteers, we're gonna see who want to volunteer. They'll be taken away by Officer McNeil, and he'll give you some pointers on policing and get you suited up with the duty belt, put the vest on you, and he'll take you downstairs while you do that. And we'll continue to watch some videos and have some other announcements till he gives the thumbs up, and then we will step outside and go through the scenarios. If it's raining, I think we're going to go right on the water department side, and then park the vehicles up under the canopy right before you come out, so we can stay sheltered. Okay? How that sound? That sound pretty good? I'm excited. I'm fired up about this. You all don't know. I'm a community type person, and Officer McNeil, Officer Garrett, we love to do this, to get involved with the community. So we're going to roll this video that we just shot this Monday, and here we go. Go ahead, Ed.
I'm holding a safety officer and an escort in your lobby.
Good afternoon, sir. The reason I stopped you is you didn't come to a complete stop at that stop sign back there. I'm going to need your license and your proof of insurance.
Officer, I did stop at the stop sign, but
okay.
My insurance is in the glove compartment. Is it okay?
Okay. Sir, have you been smoking marijuana?
Smoking? I don't even smoke. Oh, man.
I smell it.
Let's see what this is. I'm going to make a phone call already.
This is Officer Garrett to Dalton. Can you send me a squad car for an investigation of driving under the influence of marijuana, please?
I know that.
Sir, I'm going to need you to step out of the car.
Step out of the car for what?
Man, what did I do? Is this legal? Should I stay in the car or should I step out? I don't even smoke or drink. What should I do?
Hello. I am Officer Joseph McNeil of the Dalton Police Department. Have you ever found yourself in a situation just like this and wondered what should you do or what your rights were? Well, I love to cordially invite you to a community policing meeting, June 29th at 7 p.m. at the Village Hall, located at 14122 and Chicago Road. There, we will engage in discussion regarding situations just like this, what you should do and what your rights are. And also, we have a special treat for volunteers to play the role of police officer and to work out service calls and experience what police officers go through every day. Again, that's Thursday, June 29th, 7 p.m. at the Village Hall. I'd love to see you there. And remember, we at the Dalton Police Department believe in the police and the community working together.
All right, I think Officer McNeil might have a backup career when he get done with law enforcement. Okay, so I just want to acknowledge we have a few trustees here. I want to acknowledge Trustee Pearson and then we got Trustee, I just spoke to him, Trustee House. I didn't want to make the mistake and say Hunt. Trustee House is here. Thank you for coming out. I believe Trustee Muhammad is in a meeting. He may join us later. So what we're going to do, we're going to watch a couple of videos, and then afterwards, if you have any questions or concerns about them or just want to address some things, we could talk about that, and then we'll move along to the next video so that we can go outside for the presentations.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to just address for any of our victims of police shootings, just to give our condolences to any victims. We are aware, we are more aware probably than you know that we do have some road cops out there. And this meeting is to address that exact situation so that we can bring the community and the police back together regardless of these incidents. We want to say as the Dalton Police Department, these road cops do not represent us all. We have police officers that every day put their life on the line gladly for you, and we enjoy our job. We enjoy working for you and with you and serving you, and I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you. Before we get started, I would like to ask for 3 volunteers because during the videos, I'm going to ask the volunteers to come with me so we can go through some very rigid training and get prepared for our police experience. Any? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's great. So I see you. 1, 2, 3. I gotta get those hands one more time. 1, 2, and y'all sit right there. Okay. Also, with these videos, I do have to advise you that these videos are graphic. So if you want to actually have your children maybe walk out the building or walk somewhere else, maybe cover their eyes. These are real incidents that happened where officers were doing a routine traffic stop, something we do every day, and some of them were seriously hurt. So just to let you know, these are graphic videos. Okay, so just wanted to let you know that in the event you wanted to, you want your children to see, this is not a movie, this is real. Okay. We're going to have a couple of videos here where officers are doing routine traffic stops. We do traffic stops every single day. I did want to point a couple of things out. Just to point out, officers, as you know, we go to the police academy. And after police academy, we have consistent training on everything from writing tickets to what laws have been changed and use of force, shooting, all these different things. And what most civilians don't know is normally when we go to training, our training normally starts with the purpose or why the training is important. And when that training has anything to do with use of force, it normally starts off with an officer being killed. I'm not making it up. That's what they show us. They put these things in our head because they want us to protect ourselves. So we're constantly trained and told things such as, if your lack of vigilance gets you killed, complacency kills. If we're not always careful and on our toes and watching out for our safety, that could be the last day we're here. So that's the training we get. And because of that type of training, you have officers that are, to be honest, they're a little too jacked up. And that's why we want to do this training, so you can understand this officer who may be a little jacked up, he's afraid. You haven't done anything, but he is afraid because he saw a video of someone that just died last year. He had a buddy that was just shot and is sitting in the hospital, last week. That's what we deal with every day. This job is not easy. It can be very traumatic. I've been hurt several times on the job. I've been in a number of shootings on the job. I thank God every day I'm here, but my life has been changed because of those violent incidents. Now, through love and support and prayer, I ain't going crazy. But that's what we deal with. And I don't want to make it seem like we're victim blaming. For those victims that have been seriously hurt by an officer or killed to no fault of their own, we're not doing that. We're not here to speak up for that rogue cop that did something wrong. That's not what this is about. We're not here to give that cop a pass. We have a serious issue with that cop too. I just want everyone to know that. Another thing I wanted to share also is that although we're police, and I had a conversation with Ed when we were shooting this video, there is this sense that because we were police, we get treated differently on a traffic stop. Well, the reality is we don't have police on our forehead when we're off. The cop doesn't know we're the police. We get treated just like everybody else, sometimes worse, sometimes better, after they find out we're the police. I have my own experiences. I know Chief Mobley does, and Officer Garrett, where we were treated very poorly, where bad things happened. And it was like, wow, this is messed up. And I am the police. So this isn't what you're getting from here, if you want to call it a luxury. You're getting officers who are on both sides. We have the experience from being a police officer, being put in harm's way, but also being a citizen, and a good cop, having a good cop encounter, and have a very bad cop encounter. I've had a number of them. Chicago, I ain't gonna name all the towns, where I was treated very poorly after they found out I was the police. So we have the same issues. I just want y'all to know that we are on your side. We are average citizens. We're not born the police. We're not. We don't come out the womb with a badge on. We're average people doing a very difficult job. Okay? So we're going to start these videos. Again, thank you all for coming. I'm going to end up leaving eventually, so somebody's going to have to hold this mic here. I don't know where exactly he was holding it. To the back, right here. This first traffic stop, routine stop, this gentleman is speeding, okay? That's what he's pulling him over.
An Oregon State Trooper pulls over a driver for speeding, and what happened next is a little tough to watch.
Sir, please get back to the car before me now.
Now, the guy's already pulled over. He jumps out of the car, and now he has both his hands behind his back. The officer is shouting orders such as get back in the car. I'm sorry. The officer is shouting orders such as get back in the car and so forth. The driver has jumped out of the vehicle and has both his hands behind his back.
I told you.
This is in Oregon.
Sir. 5326 shots fired. Shots fired. 5326 shots fired.
Well, after he gets back into the car, he drives a half a mile down the highway before police found him dead. His 3 children were in the car the entire time.
So I just want to note, his 3 children are in the car. He's doing this. His 3 children are in the car. Not sure what was the motivation for him doing that, but this cost him his life, and the officer was seriously hurt after this incident. Let's go to. This is in West Kentucky. This was actually pretty caught a lot of traction in the news. 2010.
Like any other day. 2 veterans of our West Memphis, Arkansas Police Department, Bill Evans and Brandon Powder.
This is a father and a son in this minivan, and police officers pulling them over.
Something they love to do. They became involved in what seemed to be a routine traffic stop, though I've always warned my officers there is no such thing. But really, how much more routine can you get than pulling over a father and son in what looked like a church bus?
You know what he said? He pulled over a father and son in what looked like a church bus. How more routine can you get?
Who or what they were dealing with.
That is his son, who's 15 years old, who gets out with a rifle. And yes, he kills that cop.
The officer made it home.
They get back in the car and they're driving off.
My son. I'm Bob Powder, Chief of the West Memphis Police Department. My officers, Bill and my son Brandon, didn't realize that there are people at war with this country that are not international terrorists. They are seemingly ordinary people, just like you and me, but they don't recognize the federal government's authority to impose laws or taxes on them. They're known as sovereign citizens.
Van, a white guy, please hurry.
I just fast forward there, okay? So let me fast forward. All right. So I'm sorry I had to fast forward because he was going to go in his little soapbox, and we are pressed for time. So he killed the first cop. Another cop, backup cop, came, showed up, and he was killed as well. So now they start a car chase, and it went into a local Walmart parking lot where basically the police surround them and see if they ever get to that. Okay, this shows. Let me see if I can get this. So there's the cops there. So now they're in Walmart right here. Walmart parking lot. There's a van right there. There's the police trying to stop them, and they get out shooting.
Jerry and Joe Kane were finally stopped for good after they killed my son and his partner that day. The night before, 2 other courageous officers were injured.
So that officer was off duty, came and rammed their van, and now they started opening fire on him, and that's why he backed out and got out of there, because they started opening fire on him.
Enforcement professionals face danger every day. We know that's part of our job. Hopefully this video is giving you some new tools to keep yourself safe. No officer should have to die like Brandon and Bill.
Listen,
hold on,
Wall Street and banks.
Go ahead, yes, sir.
Actually, met the police chief, and he was on his way. He was the chief of police at that department. His son worked for him, and he was on his way on vacation with him and his wife, and they seen the police activity. So he pulled up and found he actually discovered his son dead in that ditch from that shooting. But what they don't show in that second video, when they encountered the 2 subjects, the son faked, pretended he was dead. So he stayed in that vehicle, acting like he had been shot until the other police officers approached, and they started firing on them. So, when you're in a vehicle, or when we're looking at people in a vehicle, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know what the condition is. So people say, why did you do this? Well, we didn't know, because we can't see inside the vehicle. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if someone's got something, somebody's planning on something. We never know when we stop somebody, what their intentions are, what they were just involved in. We might be stopping them for a simple taillight, but they think we're stopping for something else. They might have been involved in, a homicide or some other major felony, and they think we're stopping them for that. So, I just wanted to add that the side note that how the kid, it was a tragedy because a 15-year-old kid died in that. They're sovereign citizens, and but he basically fought to the end, knowing that they were going to die.
Okay, and just to add to that, a lot of times, and I've been a victim of this as well. In the suburbs, we generally ride one to a vehicle. In the city, it's much bigger population. You might see two to a vehicle. So when you see an officer on a traffic stop, you see that one vehicle, but you may see 3 squad cars. And the first thing that comes out people's mouths, they ain't got nothing better else to do. But what you don't know, because you're passing by, you see the 3 officers out there and you see the 1 car, but you don't know how many occupants are in that car. It might be occupied 4 times. So if one officer shows up and it's occupied 4 times and you don't know what they have, the contents or anything, they're outnumbered. Even if you see 3 officers on the stop and it's occupied 4 or 5 times, we're still outnumbered, but it gives us a better chance at avoiding an officer-involved shooting like that. Okay, so just that's just a little mental note, and just to give you an idea of what goes on. Like when you see multiple cars on one vehicle, it could be a felony stop. A felony stop is totally different. That means somebody has committed a forcible felony, an armed robbery, killed someone, and we're in pursuit of the vehicle. So it's certain ways that you approach that. You know, a certain way you put your car so you can have shelter, and it's a certain way that you approach everybody. You got a point person, you got a backup person that's watching that officer back, and it's very strategic, and it has to be done precise, else someone will lose their life. Okay, so we'll do the next couple of videos.
That is being pulled over. Joining me, retired detective Steve Rogers. You were a cop. Would you agree this driver probably panicked when he saw the flashing red light, because cops say his trunk was full of guns and drugs? He didn't know why the cops were pulling him over.
Jane, what a chilling video. I could tell you that we learn in the police academy that no traffic stop is routine. You never know who's going to get out of that car. But I'll tell you what kind of boils my blood, and I'm sure you'll touch upon this later. I understand this guy had a criminal record, and that's part of the problem we have in police work. A lot of these guys have violent backgrounds, and these judges let them free. And look, we almost lost the life of a hero cop. Thank God we didn't.
Well, let me go over his charges. In 2010, he served 3 months in jail on a drug charge. He was arrested in 2004 for assaulting a police officer and resisting arrest. So I got to go back to you, Steve. As a former police officer, let's assume that for a second, if the cop had flagged him over and he had stopped, would you have run a background check, or would you just have given him a ticket for a broken taillight and let him go on his merry way? Was he panicking for a reason, or was it irrational panic?
Oh, he panicked because he had that arsenal and drugs in his car. And yes, we would actually call for a backup unit. We would do a background check. Had he stayed calm, the officer would have probably never searched that trunk. It was a traffic violation, but he panicked and...
Jefferson not showing the insurance on your vehicle. Step on back here, listen. Y'all just stay tight, okay? You don't have anything in your pockets or anything like that, do you? You got a pocket knife on you. I'm going to take your pocket knife out. I'm going to set it right on your trunk, okay? Anything in here I need to know about? You got the FDA on. Oh. Jerry, Lard.
Y'all want to arrest me? You arrest me?
Nope.
I thought...
What, man? That's fine.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you can pay for it or you can have mine. Dispatch, go ahead and have him head this way.
Okay, so what looks like happened on that one, you saw the 2 occupants get out, and they didn't know that there was a third one in there. And that's exactly what I was talking about, not even knowing that the next video was going to be that, because I hadn't pre-watched these. Officer McNeil picked them out, but not knowing that that was going to happen. That's a prime example of what we face. It could be 1 person in the car, 2 people, 3 people. At that time, it was 3 people. The 2 driver and the passenger got out, but they never knew that it was somebody in the back seat. And when he went to clear the car, the guy jumped out on him and started shooting. I saw them going around and around. I don't know why the officers didn't shoot back right away. One probably looked like he might have dropped his gun, and the other one, you never know. You never know what you're going to do. He probably froze and couldn't get it out. But I saw them go around. They were dancing around for quite a bit before it ended. Okay, anyone has any questions on any of the videos that we've seen? Yes, Ms. Graydon?
Question on this last one you showed. Now, the officer did take a flashlight and look, so they didn't thoroughly look into the vehicle. It looked like I saw the flashlight, and I know from our last meeting, we talked about what were the precautions and looking in there, making sure that the driver stays in the vehicle. But what went wrong there? They didn't see the other because he was laying down probably on the floor, because he shined the flashlight in there.
Well, one thing is that it's nighttime, and Dalton looks one way at the daytime, but if you ask the day officers and the overnight officers, it's totally different look. If you take a day officer that hasn't been here and kind of know, it's a totally different look. They can know where the address is, but it might take them a little longer. But the midnight guys, they know exactly where they're going because they're used to it. And even though they shine the light in there, if he's laying down, they're really looking for somebody to be sitting up, not totally laid across the back bed of the car or even down in the floor. And so sometimes you can miss it, and it happens. That's why you have to do a thorough search. We had an incident at Thornridge High School where a big melee happened, and our school resource officer had got involved and actually suffered a black eye and a knot on his head. And the the student that was claiming to be the victim, when we brought him out, he was like, they were jumping on me. And upon searching him, he had a gun in his pocket. They wear these basketball shorts up under their jeans. They have on 2 pair of big basketball shorts, and they have those pants, have them sagging. So, it's a lot to go through. You have to do a thorough search, because this is what happens. And then that made us take all the other individuals out of the paddy wagon and do a more thorough search on them before we take them in-house. Because once they get in-house and now the officer is processing them, thinking they don't have anything, the officer is turning around, getting the live scan machine ready to fingerprint, and here they come out their back pocket, their crouch, anywhere. A lot of these people, they come up with all type of tricks and trades. They'll wear the football shorts. That's like real tight biking pants, and you can put the thigh pads in them, and they'll have that on so they could put their weapon down in the crouch area and it stays secure. So it's a lot of things that we face out here. Any more questions? Yes.
I have a question.
I didn't understand what a sovereign citizen is. Is that someone who claims they are just a citizen of the state of Arkansas, not a member of the United States, they don't pay taxes? Is that the kind of person that a sovereign citizen is?
No, I think the sovereign citizen, correct me if I'm wrong, Commander Mayton, is that they were just a regular citizen, but you don't know.
Yeah, it's a group. And they're all over. They're in Dalton too, and we've run into them. Basically, they say that they don't have to follow the laws of the United States because they're following the Articles of Confederation, and they run a lot of scams on property rights. They try to sue people, and But a lot of times when they interact with police, they won't show proper ID, they won't have driver's license, they have documents, they try to confuse the officer if you don't know what you're dealing with, and it's a bunch of papers saying, hey, I don't need a driver's license, I'm a sovereign citizen. There's been, a lot of them are like the militia groups where you've seen in the past where they've had like the groups, and I think mostly down south, you see a lot of them. But basically, they're subversive to our government. They say they don't believe that they have to follow the laws. They say they run under their own laws, yet they'll use our laws to sue us. So they use our court systems and everything else. So,
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Do you find that as I look at these videos, I know when I get pulled over, especially if I get pulled over, actually happen to be in a high crime area, it seems like the cops are a little bit more. Seem like these cops are a little bit more lazy, or not lazy, just laid back. Yeah, we're reserved, maybe because they're not in high crime areas. Do you find that cops that are in high crime areas are much more cautious than these cops that I've seen on these videos?
Well, what happens over time, and a lot of officers, we may have some here in Dalton, when you at a place for so long, you tend to give the benefit of the doubt or get laxed. And when you get laxed, you get hurt. You get hurt out here on these streets. In this day and age, you shouldn't take anyone lightly. Child, male, female, grandparent, senior citizen. You have to treat people with respect and decency, but you also always have to be on guard and alert, because you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with, and that's why one of the first things we ask is for a driver's license, so we can get an idea of who we're dealing with by running them through dispatch, because their criminal history will come out and up on them. So yeah, that's most of those, I think they kind of seem like they were in rural areas or whatever, and it tends to get like that. And out there in those areas like state, county, rural areas like that, where their backup is, who knows? That's why we all work together. Okay. So next, we have one of our dispatchers here, Dispatcher Perez, and she's just going to give you a brief overall view of what the dispatcher in detail does. I know we talked about it a few times when you all had concerns, like when you call the police department and county may pick up, or Chicago or whatever, but I'm going to let her further explain, because this is what she does every day to give you all a better overview as citizens how the dispatch works.
Hello, my name's Nancy. I have been a dispatcher for almost 14 years. Just to give you a few highlights, calling 911, home phone versus cell phone. When you call from your cell phone, we don't get your address. We get a tower. So you might call 911 and get Calumet City. You might get South Holland. You might even get Chicago sometimes. What happens is when you dial 911 from your cell phone, you bounced to the nearest tower that's available for your cell phone signal. So when you call 911, we have a tendency to ask you questions. What's your address? What's going on? Maybe your name, a callback phone number. Depending on what type of cell phone you also have, we don't get that type of phone number. It might have a 911, and that means that your phone will only call 911. And a lot of people will have them and keep them in their houses for emergency purposes. Because even though your cell phone is shut off, you still can use it. A lot of kids play with their phones too when they find their parents' unused cell phone in the closet or maybe in a drawer, and they start hitting 911 because their parents told them about it. Basically what we need from you as citizens to help us keep you safe, and much to our ambulance crews, our fire department, our police officers, is the best information, description, and all the pertinent information that you can possibly give us. If there's somebody that's hurting you, maybe a name, your address. If there's people in the house besides you, clothing, male, female, black, white, Hispanic. It's all on what you give us information-wise that helps us be able to do our jobs a little bit more easier. So this way, when we go to your location, if you're telling me that there's 3 subjects in front of your house and they're selling drugs, and all of a sudden those 3 move on and another 3 come in, you don't want me having the officers go for them. You want me to go for those. So when you turn around and call in, kind of get, a little bit of a screenshot in your head. Could be a male white with a green shirt and tan pants, gray hair, glasses. He's walking southbound down Chicago Road. Or it could be a, male black, brown shirt, black pants. It's all to direct us towards the person that you want us to talk to. Because when you don't give us the descriptions, it basically puts us onto other people that might be in the area. And the people that we're supposed to be going for are now gone. Because now we've stopped the group that's in back of them instead of the group in front. Also on your ambulance calls, a lot of people use cell phones for them. When you turn around and you tell me that your husband stopped breathing, the first thing I need from you, I know you're scared. We're scared when we hear you panic. We try to keep you calm. Just because we sound stern on the phone doesn't mean that our hearts aren't breaking on the phone. We listen to you, but we have to keep you calm in order to get the information or to give you directions on whether or not to start CPR. Give a epi shot if they have an anaphylactic shot. It's all on the information that you give us. So when you call in, just like teaching your kids how to dial 911, my daughter's been playing with my phone since she came out of the womb, basically. But it's all on what you teach your kids and what information that you give us, on us being able to perform our jobs to help you. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
So is it better to call from a house phone? Oh, sorry.
Honestly, if you have a house phone, your house phone gives us the information.
Okay.
It will show up your name, it'll show your address, and your phone number and your callback. That's the type of information that we need, so just in case you're choking and you can't talk. The best thing for you, I got an open 911 now. There's something wrong. There's a reason why you're not talking. Versus a cell phone, I'm getting a tower coordinates. So I have to turn around, call your cell phone company, and see if you have your name or your address listed on your cell phone bill. And now that's costing me time to help, get help to you in a critical situation. And sometimes, depending on if you have prepaids, drop phones, there is no information. So no matter if we do a trace on your cell phone number, we have no information. So, or even if, something's wrong, somebody else in the house, have them talk for you. They can turn around and talk just as good as you can, on the phone also, because they'll be asking you questions, or, I can be asking, is she breathing? Do you feel her chest rising? Just different scenarios where you can get further information. I've had 5-year-olds tell me information on the phone. My mommy fell on the ground. Okay, do you feel air coming out from underneath her nose? Yeah. Okay, do you see her chest rising? Yeah. Okay, do you know what your address is? No. First thing I did, do you know where your mom keeps her mail? Can you tell me what the numbers on the mail is? A lot of people will use that to get information. You might move to a new location, there might be junk mail in the mailbox. That's the best thing to use. Anything else? Yes, sir.
I saw a mugging in Riverdale by a train station. 144th.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go.
911 on cell phone. He said, "Pardon." I said, "Can you transfer me to Riverdale?" I said, "Can you transfer me to Riverdale?" She said, "Why didn't you call Harvey if you want Riverdale?" And I said, "It's with my cell phone." And she hung up on me. I said, "I'm witnessing a mugging, 3 against 1, and she hung up on me.
Well, I apologize for that. For the dispatcher was not supposed to do that. She was supposed to transfer you to from Harvey to Riverdale. We do have the capability to transfer you to different locations. If you're in, happen to get Chicago does have the ability to transfer you here. One of the other things too is alarms. A lot of people turn around and have alarm systems on their houses. When you have your alarm systems, make sure you double check with your alarm company that you have the correct zip code and the correct town. We have a lot of people that will turn around and they won't fill the form out all the way with their alarm companies. We've had 2 house fires where the people had their address listed in Chicago. So, needless to say, Chicago can't dispatch for Dalton. So you also got to make sure that all your information is correct on your forms, your driver's license, anything else. So this way, if anything does happen to you, we're able to find family members for you also. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
You said that you were a dispatcher from where?
Dalton.
From the police station or the ambulance?
I have been a police dispatcher for almost 14 years. I dispatch also ambulance and fire.
So ambulance and fire?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're from the police department, not Buds?
No, ma'am. I am. I came from Burnham Police Department. I dispatch police, fire, and ambulance over there also. I have most of my experience as being a single dispatcher, dispatching in all 3 capacities.
So, and you've been in Dalton how long?
2 years.
2 years?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm just saying because I've never seen you before.
I'm Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. Nancy, what is it, you share with us some of the things that the chief and our other policing meetings have gone over, which were excellent suggestions about descriptions of individuals that we need to give it a more detail of the individuals that we are asking or calling in reference to. Anything else that can happen? Let's say that we heard gunshots. Is there anything else any other information we can give you other than we heard them a block over or heard them down the street?
North, south, east, west. How many you've heard. If you've seen or heard any cars driving away in a high rate of speed. You might hear tires squealing, that type of information. We've even had subjects turn around and run through people's houses. We don't want you to, if you hear shots fired, the last thing we want you to do is go to your window and look. The best thing is what you hear is putting what you hear into our minds so we can give our officers the best description. So if I have a resident from 1234 Sibley, they're telling me they heard 6 shots fired from behind the location, that's going to be on the east side. And we know that it's going to be behind your house instead of front of your house. A lot of people cannot differentiate, where it's coming from. They could have been, woke up out of a sleep. It could have been anything. But if you happen to be sitting there, your best guess even is better than nothing.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. AT&T is talking about getting rid of landlines in certain counties in Illinois, and Cook being one. How would that affect us using our cell phones going to towers? Because I've had that situation outside of my home where I have my cell, but not my home phone.
Right.
And I call the police.
Correct.
And again, the call was just
bounced.
And
correct. Unfortunately, we don't, with cell phones, we don't have the capability of being able to direct them where we need them to go so they stay within the town that they're in. When I call the police department, whether I call 911 or even if I call from my cell phone on the regular, my information pops up. It depends on what type of phone that you have. If you have a cell phone plan, you can also see through your cell phone companies if there's a possibility you can have your name and number pop up on the 911. There are cell phone companies that do have that capability to where if you want to get rid of your home phone, or like you said, they're phasing out the home phones, to where you have your only source of phone is you can have it pop up with your address at least. You don't necessarily have to have your name, but there's no guarantee that you're not going to get Chicago first before you get us. Yes, sir.
You mentioned about hearing shots fired. I believe Chicago police have the technology supposedly where I guess they can hear, to get to scenes quicker when shots are fired. Is that something that you all have out here in Dalton?
You're talking about it's not so much a pinging. It's called a shot spotter. We do not have one of those.
We're looking into it.
There you go. Thank you. Anybody else? I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna transition to outside. It's drizzling a little bit, so we're gonna put the cars up under the canopy where everybody can stand up under there and stay dry. While we're setting up, if you would like to get some refreshments, we have water, we have finger sandwiches, and it might be a few Subway sandwiches left, and cookies. Schoolhouse cookies, Buttermade cookies by Mrs. Creighton. Mrs. Creighton made the finger sandwiches and the cookies. So help yourself while we transition by 5 minutes, and we'll meet everybody out there. Okay.
You can't tell me, remember I was broke, now I'm getting rich. When you down the color, then you know you lit. When you quit to take it, then you know you lit. Every day we lit, every day we lit, every day we lit.
What? License registration, please. License registration.
All right, I heard you. Why you touching my car?
Sir, license registration, please.
Man. And here's my license.
Thank you very much.
You want my registration?
Yes, I do. Keep your hands clear.
Yeah, and I'm looking for my registration.
Hands, let me see your hands. Bring your
I'm
hands
looking
up.
for my registration, officer.
Sir,
you told me
please.
Officer, you told me you wanted my registration.
Get out the car, sir, please. Get out the car.
That's a cell phone.
Huh? That's the fair part?
That's a cell phone.
Well, he
I heard somebody screaming in the background. That's a person. You did a good job.
So this is what happened. He pulled out his weapon, and what did he do? He pulled out his cell phone. Now,
A little bit of weapon.
man, officer, I ain't do nothing.
What you got in your hand?
I ain't do nothing. What you stopping me for?
Show me your hand.
Man, this some bull.
Show me your hand.
Black Lives Matter.
Show me your hand.
I ain't got to do nothing, man.
Show me your hand.
I'm gonna make a phone
Get
call.
down.
Come on.
Get down. Get down. Show me your hand. Baby!
Black Lives Matter. Why you still man with the cell phone? We all know this is a scenario. Yeah. We all know that nobody's gonna get hurt. But it's something about when you put in that position and when you're acting out. And this is what this all for, because now you know and see how an officer feels on a real life. Imagine you know your anxiety. So imagine that times 10,000.
Yeah, because you look like a criminal.
I could change the whole scenario by getting out with his bag. She'll be done shouting. Yes, but she don't ask me to step out.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Can I have, first of all, can I have your driver's license and your proof of insurance?
Okay, well, I just came from the gym, and my license and stuff.
That's fine and good, but I need your driver's license and your proof of insurance is what I need.
Officer, you didn't hear me. I just came from the gym, and my license and stuff is in the trunk and my wallet.
Well, you know what? Well, I need you to step out. Step out the car.
Baby, get your phone ready, because this about to be some crap.
All right.
Way too close.
Just left the jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, look at me.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Are you serious right now? No, I said I just left the gym. Don't you see I got on my workout clothes? I just left the...
No, you know what? We can do this the easy way.
Well, we can do it the hard way then. Because you gone. You gone. Come on, girl. How was it good?
Passenger gets out. All right, passenger starts shooting. Okay. All right. So we see the significance between having vision on both people. At least till you get some help. I gotta watch both of y'all. Okay.
No, but I turned you around. I turned you around. I took over position. When I got out, I came, and then you was close. You should have been this way and had my back, so you could have kept eyes on me and her. I controlled that. I got out and I knew exactly what I wanted to do because we're not going to jail today.
Okay, well, that's why I'm not police.
Come on, baby.
Let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand.
But I think that this is very, very good when you have the police and the community come together, and we can look at each other from both angles. And I think it helps to bring about a unity between community and police when we do things like that. I only hope that maybe next time we can have more of the young people out so they can get an understanding of interactions with police officers.
Alright, so as we can see, there are multiple dangers. We didn't even go over some where, what if somebody, you have a traffic stop and somebody just walks over from the store and they're giving you a problem. They ain't got nothing to do with your traffic stop, okay? What if another car pulls up? Hey, that's my mother. Why you got my mother pulled over? So many different scenarios that we have. And you have to be able to be fluid and deal with whatever's coming your way and deal with it safely and try to make it home that night, okay?
Okay, I want to thank you all for coming out. What we're trying to do is connect with the communities, and we need to get our youth out. We need to get our youth out more. This is not going to be the only presentation this summer. The next one, we're going to do some more scenario-based things that we deal with. We're going to probably do a domestic and different natures of calls, but we're going to promote it even more. We're going to try to attach it to the water bill, put a flyer out, and promote it even more. We're going to start working on the video in the next week or so after the holiday, so it could be shown over and over, and we can get people to come out. Did you all enjoy? Was it some good information for you? Okay. Did it give you a better perspective of what we deal with?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And that's what it's all about. Yes, sir.
How would you guys have handled that situation, especially being one police officer, with the second scenario, where you had your hood on and you started backing up and your hands behind your back? I mean, I felt she showed a lot of patience, you know, and it's like half of a split-second reaction just coming from here.
Action be reaction all the time. Every day. So that's just like, I'm the police, but if I get caught off guard and somebody put a gun to the back of my head, the last thing I'm doing, I want is for them to feel that I have a weapon on, because they're already scared, believe it or not. Even though they're sticking me up, they're scared, and if they feel that weapon, they ain't thinking about I got concealed carry. Their first instinct is that this is the police, and they're gonna shoot me in the head and leave me where I'm at. They might go in my pocket, they might shoot me and take off running. So with that being said, even with the concealed carry, everybody wants it, but if you're not a gun enthusiast or going to the range, perfecting your craft, it's like you really don't know. You go through that training to get the license, but how often are you going back to the range? How often are you dry firing, to get your aim on? So that's what it is. It's like action beat reaction. Even though we're the law enforcement or the police, we're still vulnerable too. So that's why I constantly say keep your head on a swivel. You are not protected anywhere in this day and age. Going in your house, coming out your house, no place is safe really. Churches, anything you could think of have been robbed or shot in. People have walked in the police lobby and just started firing, and you wouldn't think that. So that's what this is about, being aware, and we want our citizens to be aware and have a sense of what we go through, and we're connecting. When we started this last year, there was a lot of complaints and this, that, and the other. Now when we do questions, it's to a bare minimum, and that's what we like, and that's what we instill in our officers and our supervisors. And hey, transparency is here, and policing is more like a customer service base. And when we deal with the criminals, we handle them as such, and even after we get them locked up, we come back down. We got control of the situation. We come back down. It's not your judge to be the arrestee and the judge and the prosecution. All we do is lock them up. We send them to the next phase, and the judge and state's attorney and prosecution, they do their job. Okay. So I thank you all for coming out, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next Thursday, last Thursday of July. Same time, same place.